My dear friends, good day to you. Welcome to the Lectio Divina offered by CCBI Commission for Bible for the 24th Sunday of the year on the theme Taking the Road Less Traveled. The first reading is taken from Isaiah 54 to 9. The section Isaiah 40 to 55 is called Suffering Servant Songs. There are four songs of the suffering servant. Often, people of Israel is referred to the suffering servant, a remnant within the people, the so-called the people who returned after the exile, or the people who were in exile. Through degradation and suffering, they are led to liberation and salvation. What we have in the first reading is the third servant song, where the author tells about the results of choosing God. What are the results? They are humiliation and suffering. But still, the author tells, the Lord God helps me, He is near, Lord helps me. So, at the moment of suffering, the author or the people of God, people of Israel, find presence of God with them, and the enemies will wear out like a garment. This is a good metaphor that refers to the enemies who will disappear altogether. The adversaries and the enemies will disappear. So we have two paths in the first reading. The path of the wicked, the path of the servant. The path of the wicked is chosen by the so-called unrighteous people. They chose whatever was pertaining to the world or whatever was pertaining to the other empire. But the path of the servant, that of suffering, he undertook the path of the suffering because he wanted to choose God and he wanted to choose righteousness. The second reading is taken from James 2:14 to 18. The past 2 weeks we had two themes of true religion and favoritism. Today the theme is about faith and works. James' community misunderstood Pauline teaching in Galatians 2:16, where Paul totally does away with the works of the law. So people began to believe that faith is nothing but a set of ideas and doctrines. But James is telling them that faith has to have a concrete expression, practical expression of faith, and true faith has to be reflected in deeds. He takes the example of helping the underprivileged, helping the poor, and words are empty, actions are fruitful. In the sense, unless the words are translated into actions, the faith remains mere belief in doctrine. The path of faith alone versus the path of faith and works. The path of faith alone is easy to take because just you have a belief about set of ideas or set of doctrines. But when it comes to faith, path of faith and works, it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of pain. And the author wants us to choose the road less travel, that is the path of faith and works. The Gospel reading is from Mark 8:27 to 35. This is the central passage in Mark because messianic secret is revealed. There are three sections in the Gospel reading. Number one, Peter's confession. Number two, Jesus' first prediction. And number three, discipleship lessons. Peter's confession is divided into two parts. First part is about public opinion. Second part is about personal opinion. In the first part, Jesus asks them, "What do others say about me?" In the second part, he asks, "What do you say about me?" So the question moves from outside to inside. In the second section, where Jesus first predicts his suffering, rejection, killing, and rising, he emphasizes on his passion. Passion is expressed in three words: suffering, rejection, killing. Suffering and rejection, these two are experiences of Jesus not only during the time of passion, that is the final death moment, but all throughout his ministry he experiences suffering and rejection. Third section, discipleship, gives three lessons: self-denial, taking up of cross, and following Jesus. There is path of no suffering and path of suffering. Peter tends to see only the rising part or only the Messiah part. He is myopic to see the suffering part, and Jesus corrects him, Jesus admonishes him. Now, let us meditate on the word. The road less traveled. What do we mean by this? That is the path of humiliation and suffering, as in the first reading, the path which is difficult, as in the second reading, and the path where one finds God as comfort and companion in the gospel reading. Because Jesus himself takes the road less traveled, takes the road of suffering. Now, how do we take the road? By imitating Christ. When you profess that Jesus is the Christ, his path becomes your path. Now, let us contemplate the word. Let us avoid instant gratification. The suffering servant avoids instant gratification, that is, was taken by the so-called the wicked people. They chose the world because that gratified them instantly. Like in James' community, let us be the people who embrace suffering because suffering is there when faith translates into action. Peter failed to see the broader picture. Jesus shows him the broader picture. When we see the broader picture, we are able to take the road less traveled. Let us finish it light. There is an anecdote about Yakov Smirnov, a Russian comedian, where in America, for the first time when he came, he went to the supermarket. He was thrilled to see the instant products there. So he writes, on my first shopping trip with my friend, I saw milk powder. You just add hot water and you get milk. Then I saw orange powder. You just add cold water and you get orange juice. And then I saw baby powder. And I thought to myself, what a country. You add water to a tin of powder and get a baby. There is no concept as Christian powder. Christian powder is no more because Christianity, Christian life involves suffering, involves delaying the gratification. Robert Frost says, two roads diverged in a wood. I chose the road less traveled, and that made all the difference. Let us choose the road less traveled, as it was chosen by the suffering servant, the people in James' community, and by Jesus. Thank you.